Welcome back to the Keystone Oilers page. We are talking about our 168-hour exercise this week. So, for those of you who don't know, our 168 hours is the amount of time we have throughout an entire week. We have 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so we all have the same amount of time. And the question is, how do some of these people who get so much done get it done in that same amount of time? Here's the key, guys. They have their priorities laid out and they have a schedule. So if you have a schedule and you can't seem to figure out how to maintain it, let's first go back and go through our priorities for the week. So what we need is we need our priorities, the hours per day, and if it's not something that is every single day of the week, then hours per week, and then we subtract them from 168. So our first thing that is a top priority is our necessities, which first and foremost, sleep. A lot of people like to skip out on this, and then they wonder why they're sick or they're not able to get things done that they want to get done throughout the week. So sleep is number one priority. How many hours do you need? Well, that's up to you. Some people thrive on 4 to 5 hours, and you guys are all crazy. So for me personally, it's 7 hours. There are some people out there that need 10 or even more, depending on how they function throughout the day. So that's 49 hours a week for me, and that leaves me with 119 hours for the rest of the week. Now, from there, I realized my paper was up way too high. From there, we need to do eating. It's another necessity. How much time do you spend eating per week? Well, for us, we do about half an hour for morning and lunchtime, and then about an hour we have for dinner every evening. Now, sometimes that may take more, sometimes it may take less. Usually the eating habits for the morning and afternoon are quick for us because we're just heating up quick stuff and eating it on the go. For me, I'm just usually having a coffee in the morning. But for the evening, we like to sit down for a meal. And that's 7 days a week, so that's 14 hours throughout the week. We're left with 105 hours at the end of the week. Now, meal prepping. This is either throughout the week. Personally, I take a good chunk of 4 hours on the weekend and meal prep. I also will do about 30 minutes to prep my meals during the week. So usually I'm cooking bigger things up on the weekend and then just heating them up throughout the week, or throwing them in the crock pot. And so it takes me about a half an hour every day for food, plus that 4 hours. That leaves me with about 8 hours throughout the week. And that's 97 hours left. Next up, I'm going to talk about my kids. One thing that really stands out to me is because 2 of them are still in preschool. We drive to and from preschool, and they go to preschool pretty far away. And so we are in the car for about an hour and 10 minutes total on 3 days a week. So that hour and a half or hour and 10 minutes turns into 3.5 hours every week. And so I'm left with 93.5 hours here. Next up, we have our kids' morning routine. That includes making sure that they're brushing their teeth, brushing their hair, getting dressed, wearing the appropriate clothes, making sure they have shoes and socks on, they've eaten breakfast, maybe unpacking lunches, all of that stuff, making sure that they have their bus or their backpacks together, and possibly even, our time walking down to the bus stop. So that's about an hour, but that is only 5 days a week. So we're looking at 5 hours here, so now we're down to 88.5. Next up, we're going to talk about cleanup time because, having a lot of kids means that we have cleanup and laundry. I like to try and throw in a load of laundry every night or every other night, depending on how fast the hampers fill up, and then making sure I fold it as soon as it comes out. So if I throw something in the washing machine when the kids go to bed, I throw it in the dryer after they've fallen asleep, but before I go to bed, because I personally don't like having my dryer run while I'm sleeping. So that's about, an hour maybe every night between the cleanup and the laundry. And then I'll just take it out and fold it the next night when I throw in the next laundry. So that cleanup time is about 7 hours throughout the entire week. That means just picking up toys, making sure that the kids are helping me out. Now, it may take them longer to clean up than what it takes for me to do that, but I'd rather have them learn these life lessons of cleaning up after themselves and doing their laundry, folding their laundry, even if it doesn't look perfect, even as OCD as I am. It's going to instill a lot of life lessons for my kiddos. So I'd like to have them do that. Now on top of that, then we have the household cleaning. That is the dusting, the mopping, sweeping up, doing all of that fun stuff, doing bathrooms for our whole house. Because we've purged our house, we have been able to really drive down the amount of time that it takes us to clean, because we're doing this hour of pickup every day and just, putting things back in their place. And even throughout the day as we're doing stuff, I don't let things pile up like dishes or the mail or laundry. So we're looking at about 3 hours then on the weekend if my kids stay out of my hair for me to do the deep cleaning. And then on top of that, now let's go back to my kids. We have homework. And I like to sit down and make sure that my oldest is getting her homework completed. She's only in first grade, but she still has a few things to do. So I sit down with her for that half an hour. And that's 5 days a week. Sometimes she only has three days of homework. Sometimes she has more. But I like to, again, overestimate, because then we have extra time. So we're looking at 76 hours now. Then on top of that, we have church activities. And that includes our 2 hours approximately spent at church on Sunday. And then we have about an hour and a half to 2 hours when we are there for kids' activities on Wednesday evenings. So I over approximate again about 4 hours, and we're down to 72 hours in our work week. Next up, I like to spend some good quality time in the garden, because we have a large garden with all of our food allergies. So we're going to be cooking a lot of this stuff up, making our own sauces, and just canning a lot of this stuff, so we don't have to worry about purchasing this down the road and worrying about food allergies and stuff like that. So we're taking about an hour to make sure. Again, this is going to be approximate, because some days I'm not going to need to weed, especially once we have the weed barrier down and we're watering things. But this is just, general basic outdoor lawn maintenance as well. So that's 7 days a week probably. And now I'm down to 65 hours. Next up, playtime with the kids. I like to be able to spend quality time with my kids while they're little. 2 hours, that may be a very generous amount of time. Usually they're helping me do stuff around the house, and that counts in our quality time. But, if we're doing a board game, or if we're going hiking and we're going for a bike ride, that's all this playtime to me. In my personal opinion, that's all part of it. Next up, we would have, I want to spend time with my spouse, my husband. He travels a lot, but if he's home, we try to do an hour a night, at least, just the two of us, where we, once the kids are in bed, we can spend some quality time talking or hanging out. This is not all the time, because he does travel for work. And then we also do try to have about 3 hours of a date night or an afternoon date or something during the day, maybe when the kids are at school. So we're looking at about 10 hours a week. Again, that's pretty generous of a number, especially when he travels. So if instead of spending quality time with him, if he's on the road, then I'm using that time to work on other things for my business or whatnot. And speaking of that, our next up, so now I'm left with 41 hours in my week. Now I'm going to talk about my business stuff. I am a home entrepreneur. I do a lot of stuff from home. I love my doTERRA oils. That is my business, and it works so wonderfully for me. It helps our family income, where we are using that to pay for our kids' schooling since they go to private school. And it's just been, we love our oils to the point where I was just like, there's no way I can keep this to myself. So now I share that with everybody. So how do I do that? I need to make sure that I'm having new contacts, new appointments. This is all with either calling people or messaging them, or actually face-to-face. That's about an hour a day. Some days or some weeks it's more than that. Sometimes it's less, but I only do 6 days a week. I take Sundays off because I want to be able to spend that time with my family, doing my meal prep, going to church, making sure I take a day off and I relax for a day. Next up, we have follow-up appointments. These are people that I've already spoken with, and maybe they're interested or they've already gotten part of me, and now I'm trying to make sure that they know how to order and things like that. So now I'm down to 23 hours a week. Vendor shows. I love my farmer's market. That's about 5 hours. It's a 4-hour event. It takes me about a half an hour to and from. So I'm looking at approximately 5 hours, give or take, every week. And so I may take this time and add an hour afterwards on Sunday or on a Saturday so that I can talk to a new contact and spend time with them and educating them about essential oils and natural health. So that's 18 hours now down that I have left in my week. Next up, I'm online a lot. Facebook posts, Instagram, YouTube, whatever. I'm online a lot, and that takes me about an hour approximately a day where I'm either creating content or following up with people on that content, messaging people. Anything that I post online is very much dedicated to my business. So if you see me post about how it's awesome that my kids are able to play outside and we're not dealing with all of the issues that come with pollination and stuff like that in the springtime, usually I'm posting because I want people to know we have stuff that helps people with that. And my kids are not, able, or they're actually able to go out and enjoy the outside without feeling groggy and awfulness. So with my Facebook post, that's about 6 hours. Since I'm doing an hour a day, 6 days a week, I'm down to 12 hours. I'm also working on writing my book with all of this information involved in it. I have probably about 4 hours a week when my husband is home. When he's not home, again, I'm going to take this hour that I have up here and I'm going to move it down to writing where my book writing is. So now I'm down to 8 hours a week. Then I'm doing mentoring calls or coaching. And I have about 5 hours dedicated in my week for that. And so that leaves me with about 3 hours left here. And then I'm going to be doing personal development. I have about 2.5 hours. Actually, you know what? Let's make that 3 because that's 30 minutes every day. So now I'm left with no more time. Now, one thing I realized that I missed out on here is I didn't talk about my exercise. That exercise is typically part of where I'm doing a lot of my gardening activities, especially in the summertime, because we are outside and running around, or it's going to be during my playtime with my kids because I include my kids in my family walks or bike rides or things like that. So all of our stuff is incorporated in here. If you find that you have gone through all of your priorities here and you are left with a negative balance here with your time, you need to reprioritize things. So let's say I have, 10 more hours of priorities than I do time in the week. Well, how about I look up here at these household cleaning stuff, and instead of me doing this, how about I pay somebody, to come in once a week or once every other week to come and do all of my cleaning? Or, we look down here, okay, maybe unfortunately my playtime with my kids, maybe that has to get knocked down. And whereas instead of spending playtime with them, maybe I can incorporate them and make a game out of doing stuff we need to do around the house. That's something to think about. Or, for instance, since my husband travels, it's always up to me to do a lot of the driving. But if he's home, I may be asking him to take over this 3.5 hours a week where I'm already doing stuff, or down here where I'm doing all of the cleaning. And if he's home, guess what? He's probably going to be helping me out because I am not a one-man show. We have a family of 5. And so if we want to get all of this awesome stuff done, which is from here up in our house, this is all stuff that is family related here. This is stuff that is good for everybody in our family. Here, this is, you know, just me. And this is business. This right here, though, this is me time. Why is personal development so important? Because it's going to help you grow and learn and figure out how to do stuff that could be included in watching this video, reading a self-help book, or doing any kind of stuff for business related stuff. So I hope you guys have found value in this and figuring out exactly how to manage your time. If you have any questions, please message me. You can message me at keystoneoiler@gmail.com or leave a message here on my YouTube page. Message me on Facebook. I'm all over the place, guys. I'm more than happy to help. You guys have a wonderful day, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.